We are about 5 months now from the 2024 presidential and congressional elections, and we have some new polling that is coming in from Decision Desk HQ. We've got 6 battleground states in the race for president, so take a good look at where they are. The latest polling shows President Biden is barely ahead in Nevada and Michigan. Donald Trump leads in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, and also in Georgia. And things are really tight. The DDHQ forecasting model predicts that overall, Trump has a 56% chance of winning the presidency, and he will win 280 electoral votes compared to Biden's 258. Again, that's the prediction. To break down the latest information here, we want to bring in Decision Desk HQ Director of Data Science, Scott Tranter. Thank you. So the prediction is a Trump win. What goes into these numbers? I know you guys get really into the weeds. How do you make this type of determination from the latest polls?
We have a couple hundred different variables, things like voter registration, things like past vote history, and then some more current things like polling, all different types of polls, as well as fundraising data, as well as correlations, right? You know, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania are very similar. So if they tend to go to this, if one tends to go one way, then we correlate those states together. So it's a whole bunch of different data points, and then we rerun it every day because there's a lot of new data coming out every day.
Right. And some of that new data would be Trump's hush money trial, guilty on 34 counts. How does that impact his polling?
So far, we've seen it very little. Right before the trial, we had him at about a 58% chance of winning. Post-trial, he's inched down to about 56%, as you noted. There's been a few polls that have come out after the trial, and those didn't really move a lot against him or for him. Fundraising was pretty high for him, but interestingly enough, his fundraising has been pretty bad the past few months, so that fundraising boost basically brought him up to parity.
So we're talking about some of these battleground states, and Trump leads in a few, Biden leads in a couple of others. How close is it, and does that also change day to day?
Yes, those change day to day. Michigan, if we were talking about Michigan about 2 weeks ago, it would have been Trump ahead 51%, 49 in terms of probabilities. It's inched a little bit towards Biden just because on some recent polling. We're getting a whole lot more state polling as we close in on the conventions, and it'll be even more after we get through Labor Day. But what I would take away from this is don't focus in on the 47 or 53 or 44 or 56. If it's within the 40s and 50s, this is a coin flip race. It could go either way, and I expect these numbers to move around quite a bit as we get around these debates and get into Labor Day.
Yeah, which means some particular voting blocks, the LGBTQ voting bloc, black voters, will be critically important come Election Day. We're going to be talking about those later on in the program. RFK was not in the presidential poll. DDHQ has him around 8% right now. If he were to be factored in, how would that impact either Biden or Trump?
So we're going to have him in at the state level. Right now, he's not actually on the ballot in enough states to be eligible to win presidency, right? We are on the Electoral College. In states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, where he is, it looks like he's going to get on the ballot. We're gonna factor him in this fall once he qualifies for the ballot there in states like that, maybe Georgia, maybe Arizona. And then, as you pointed out, these races are going to be made up of really small margins. He's probably not going to win those states, but he might get 2 or 3%. And that could affect either candidate. It's still up in the air which candidate hurts more, but I think we're gonna have a pretty good idea as these guys, get into debates and roll out their campaign message over the next couple months.
You're a number cruncher, as I said. You're in the weeds. What if anything surprised you the most about where things stand right now?
I think where things stand right now is static, right? We've been looking at this stuff, or at least I have, for the past year. And by and large, it has gone back and forth very slightly between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Sometimes it's Joe Biden in the low 50s. Sometimes it's Donald Trump right now in the low 50s in terms of probability. But the fact that it seems like this campaign's been going on a long time, yet the numbers are pretty static. I expect some movement to come after the debate and into Labor Day. But given how intense these guys have gone after each other the last few months, it's been static, and that's been the most surprising to me.
Yeah, a toss-up. But you've got the political crystal ball, so to speak. Scott Tranter, Director of Data Science at Decision Desk Headquarters. Always good to talk to you. I learn a lot. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.